Hey folks, it's editing series. Our Wi-Fi was really bad when we were recording this, and unfortunately that is required for the recording software to work goodly. So please bear with us. It mostly only affects the intro. After the music rolls, everything is clear sailing. So stick with us for 2 minutes of poor audio quality and be rewarded with the rest of our opinions after the intro. All right, bye-bye. Hey folks, welcome to Friendly Orbit, the podcast that draws us together no matter how far we fly. I'm Sari, fiending for the future, joined by...
Um, like my exes, hard to impress. It's Thea, and today we are following up Firefly with...
Yes, we're following up Firefly. We're going to do some more old sci-fi in the WatcherBot format, and this week we're going to watch Futurama.
What? Oh, oh boy. Hard,
So,
hard indeed.
consistent with the definition that oldish means about 20 years ago, Futurama was released in 1999 and ran until 2003. It was developed by Matt Groening and David X. Cohen.
Are you calling me old?
Yes, in the by terms of TV shows, you're old. Like, what would you call? Would you call like H2O Just Add Water a recent TV show? You'd be like, oh, that recent TV show Firefly? No, it's old. That's all there is in TV shows. There's recent and there's old, and then there's ancient. All right, it's not Doctor Who. It's not Star Trek. Anyways, Futurama is a show that has been recommended to me many times as being smart and funny. I'm very interested in it, in watching it. I mean, I like the early part of Rick and Morty. Maybe this is something similar, or maybe even something with a little bit more, scientific sophistication to its jokes or whatever. I don't know.
I have never watched a single episode of Futurama.
Perfect. I'm excited to try it. We'll see. We'll let you know what all the hype is about. But
Here we are, 2025, talking about Futurama.
exactly, not late at all. Maybe if you think our opinion is late, it's only because our opinion fell into a cryo machine, and you're receiving it now. That's, I think, something that happens in episode 1 of the show.
Our opinion got frozen for 2,000 years?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Something like that.
Anyways, let's head to the future.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
All right, Thea, we're back from the future. Take 2.
Take 2.
Our internet collapsed and the recording was lost.
Yes.
So these are not the freshest opinions. And I already did not have much to say about the show, so we'll see how this goes.
Well, we went from a time travel joke to a time loop joke.
All right. So Futurama is a
Roughly what I expected. This episode did not surprise me.
So it's a show where we follow Fry, a delivery boy from
1999.
and he goes through his job of delivering a pizza.
His life is crap.
His life is crap. He accidentally falls into a cryotube and gets frozen and wakes up in the year 2999. So 1,000 years later, in the future. In the future, he's assigned to being a delivery boy again, which he does not want to be. And so he runs away, and on the way he meets Bender, who's a robot who bends steel girders, and the steel girders are used to make suicide booths, and that revelation has made Bender not want to be a girder bender anymore.
Kill himself.
Yeah, and kill himself. So he teams up with Fry, and then eventually Leela, who is the agent who's supposed to put the delivery boy chip in Fry, also decides to give up. She's the one who's chasing them the whole time. In the end, she joins their side and gives up her job as being a chip giver person. And they now don't have jobs, so now they need somebody for money and shelter.
Luckily, who does Fry have?
Fry has a great nephew
Who is a typical sci-fi scientist who has built a spaceship
Yeah,
because he can.
He's a mean old man. It seems he's built a spaceship and wants some free employees for his space shipping company.
Exactly. So he hires them as a crew for his spaceship that is essentially like a small shitty delivery business.
And we end with Stephen Fry being back to being a delivery boy.
Yeah, but this time he's happy about it.
This time he's happy about it.
Yeah. So
why do you think that? He's happy about it the second time.
Do you think I have an opinion about that?
I think you might have an opinion about that.
Yes. So actually, yeah. So first, this is, I think, an effective pilot for a show that wasn't greenlit yet, like in an era where they had to do a pilot. Like this show spends no time getting you to the exciting stuff, which is the future, and introduces Fry in a very like simple, straightforward way. Like he makes you immediately feel bad for him. Yeah. Even though he's a fuck up. Yeah. And then we're off to the races, basically. Yeah. Like we're wasting zero time, and yeah. I thought this pilot has, I think, more than any of the other episodes, a bit of a theme going on with the fact that he keeps getting assigned to be a delivery boy, and he hates it in the beginning, and then by the end he ends up being a delivery boy, but he likes it. And so what I was when we were at the end, I kind of like thought in the beginning, oh, that's a cute joke that like he's a delivery boy, but now he's happy about it. And then I thought, like, why? Has anything really changed? And I tried to take it seriously, actually, within the lens of like a character arc with like want versus need. And I thought, well, what did he want? He wanted to not be a delivery boy, and at the end, actually, that's not what he really needed. What he needed was to be a delivery boy on kind of like on his own terms for once, because he decides to be a delivery boy by the end. Basically, like he accepts the job.
Well, and also because he has friends.
And he has friends. Yeah, he has a family. Yeah, exactly.
It's very heavily emphasized how his whole social network sucks in his whole life. And how he's very happy to have these new friends in his new life.
So Matt Groening said that the problem under capitalism is not strictly the work itself, but that people are lonely and sad and miserable.
Yeah, they're alienated from their work.
Alienated from work, you say. Yeah. Hey, and there's a lot of aliens in the show. Lots of aliens. That means something.
That means something.
I also thought it was very. I mean, there was two sides of the world building in this episode. First, one that was like kind of like there is a, let's call it world building mistake, which like, I mean, who cares, right? But there is an inconsistency, which the society, like half the time it makes jokes that imply that the society directly evolved from our society, where they reference our stuff and they have old stuff from ours, but then
heads, namely.
Exactly, heads. And at the same time, there is also the joke that basically while he was frozen, society was destroyed by aliens twice. Like we were burned to the ground, rebuilt a medieval society, we're burned to the ground again by aliens, and then just skipped straight to the future. And, I was just thinking, like, where are the precedent sets here? Like, that makes sense if the future continues linearly, but not if we get reset twice in a row. But
what if these heads are all being collected somewhere that the window isn't looking at, right?
No.
Like, what if the aliens don't like the U.S.? They don't like New York. All the other places they're fine with. They just don't like New York.
That's clearly not the implication.
I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, all the alien movies always show that New York is destroyed first. But yeah, no, I mean, there's this society is clearly like a direct descendant of our society, but they also wanted to do the gag of the window. Yeah. And like that's okay. But but the second thing about this world, which is like not like, which is like, it's not obvious. The show doesn't hit you in the head with it. Like, okay, well, it does kind of hit you in the head with it, but like doesn't say that out loud. This world is exactly the same. Yeah. Like the future sucks just as much as the present. Yeah, people are miserable. The same things
happen. You don't like being a delivery boy who delivers pizza in New York? Don't worry. In the future, you can be a delivery boy who delivers pizza in space.
Exactly.
But it's the same, you can be a space delivery boy delivering space pizza to space aliens. Right?
And there is, and like New York has the tube. Yeah. Literally. Like there's a tube system.
There's the tube system, which is a literal tube system, which is cute.
Yeah. And like in general, like you look at around.
Like it's literally, it's big like hamster ball tubes and you go inside of them.
Yeah. and in general, like the same, Fry faces the same exact struggles in the future as he does in the present. There's a kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to.
This is one thing I want to talk about, their vision of the future too. Is, and I think this is partially that this is a show that we've watched the first 1.5 hours of in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
It's finding its footing and its funding, to be honest. But like fantasy future New York is empty and quiet, and the show is kind of slow. Like there's just like a lot of dead air. There's a lot of like dead like beats that
those are cute. Those, I mean,
like sit on and you wait on in this show. And I think it's interesting because I think it's a combination of the time, i.e. animation costs, and the time, how they felt about pacing back in the day, right? Yeah. Like in a Rick and Morty episode, let's say, for example, right? There's always something happening, right? You're continuously, like, you're going from beat to beat to beat to beat, joke to joke to joke to joke, right? There's not like a lot of dead air where someone just sits for a moment, pauses, and then goes, life is good, right? Which is a fun little joke that they do at one point, but like it's a long joke. It's done like in a slow way, right? Or where you do like 15 seconds of joke, and 15 seconds of joke is Fry just going on the tube system going, wee! Wee! Wee!
Yeah, that's
and then getting knocked into a wall, and so I'm doing
tourists,
right? Which is like a funny joke, right? But it's like, it's slow. It's a really slow joke. Right? They're really taking their time with it, right? Like in Rick and Morty, if you did this joke, right? In that time, he would have gone to like 7 different dimensions, right? And
one of them is butts.
Yeah, one of them is Booby World, right? And then boom, he gets slammed into the thing, right? And it's like tourists, and it all happens in 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And this show, it was like, and that was interesting because for me, a view of the future is often like very overstimulating. You know, it's like, bah, all the lights everywhere, all the holograms, this, that, and everything, right? This show, actually, the future it's like super quiet. Like that's one thing that we noticed in the pilot. In the pilot, there's just like no music really anywhere except for the title song. There's no background chatter. There's no honking of horns.
Yeah.
There's no space noises. There's no robot clanks. Like the future, it's as quiet as a recording booth with one actor in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this
is also, by the way, this episode, because I looked it up earlier. This episode is basically features all the characters that are voiced by the same guy. Right? So Leela is voiced by one voice actress, and then Billy West voices the nephew, Fry, and Bender, and Zoidberg, but Zoidberg's not in this episode.
Yeah.
But so like this episode is really predominantly, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think that like part of it might be like the era in terms of like what the narrative expectations were.
Yeah.
But like part of it is that like this is cheap.
Yeah.
This episode is cheap.
Yeah.
And it's cheap. It's cheaply made because in the 1990s, animation for adults was a much smaller, it was much smaller. Even with the Simpsons already being on their way to be very successful.
Yeah.
Adult animation, just there wasn't that much money in it. And then, of course, technologically, it was harder to animate than it is today.
Yeah.
So like today, that joke, that joke, while I was looking at it, I was like, oh yeah, this is cheap.
Mm-hmm.
This is cheap to animate.
Yeah.
Like just
this
him.
This is a cheap 15 seconds.
Yeah, just like a loop of his hair just wobbling.
Yeah.
While he just like moves linearly through a tube.
Yeah.
This is fast.
Yeah.
This is like fast to do.
Yeah.
So they save themselves a lot of time with that joke.
Yeah.
And the same with those like slow jokes. I mean, part of it is like the timing of the jokes might have been like different and the expectations were different, but that's just also like, just saving money.
Yeah.
And that's something that today we don't consider because, I mean, yeah, Rick and Morty has probably, like, by the standards of Futurama, infinite money.
Well, and infinite technology, right? Like you were saying, I think the new animation technology is a big part of it. When you look at the show, it has that feel, that slightly grungier feel where, like, lines wobble more and things go in and out of focus more, and, like, it's a little bit, things are a little bit more static. They don't move as much, right? And stuff like that. So I think it's definitely, like, you notice the age, especially on the pilot. Yes. And then as we go to episode 2 and 3 and 4, I felt like you see the show finding its feet, right? Not only in the character dynamics to one another, like they figure out pretty quickly, oh, Bender and Fry are good friends, right? And they have this relationship going on, and they start to like explore what might Leela's issue be, right? Because I have to say, her conflict in episode 1 I felt pretty weak, where he's like, I'm all alone in the world.
Yeah.
All my people have died. And she goes, well, I'm all alone in the world too. I'm an orphan and I was dropped on this planet. And it's just like,
don't worry, guys. She will be Palpatine's granddaughter.
but like, you know, I don't know. It just felt kind of weak. Like,
yeah, no, I mean that all that stuff was like, okay, we have 20 minutes. We need to get this shit done.
Yeah.
You know, like, how is this? I mean, realistically, she seems like she has a job. Doesn't seem to be a bad job in terms of like where she works. And then all of a sudden, because of like one line by Fry, she beats up some cops and becomes a criminal. I mean, this was also an era where people were way less annoying about media than we are today because of the internet and the ability to always rewatch something 15 times.
Yeah,
find out the
but
plot.
I feel like she could have had a slightly better, like,
sure.
Something.
I mean, it could be better. Like Rick and Morty has done stuff with 20 minutes, which are amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying, but I'm saying like this also came from a time where like the standards and the attention to this kind of detail was like.
I think the thing where the show thrives really is not the macroscopic pacing of an episode. Humor. It's the tiny little jokes that they throw in everywhere, right? And they have like little side jokes happening a lot of the time, right? Like, Sharktopus was another joke.
I don't know if Sharktopus has.
There's a little moment where they're getting alien animals off of a planet, and a Sharktopus is one of the animals that's on the list but is never shown on screen.
Yeah, but Sharktopus, the movie, is from 2010, so that's not a reference to the movie Sharktopus. If anything, it might be the other way around.
Oh.
Or maybe it's just that those two words fit well together, and two people had the same pun.
All right, well, but there's other stuff like
there's the dark matter joke was really good.
There's a little dark matter joke where they say dark matter is a super dense material. 1 pound of it weighs 1,000 pounds, right? And then they just move on past that, and you're like, what? Or
the lander.
Yeah, there was the little moon.
The moon shall rise again.
Yeah, exactly. See, there's like all these little jokes. So like there's a
Luna Park.
There's an episode where they go to the moon. There's a Luna Park there. I just learned recently that Luna Park was a chain of amusement parks. I didn't know this.
Yeah, it's an old timey name for small amusement parks,
and so that's why the moon has an amusement park on it. And then in the amusement,
it's proper that Thea would know about Luna because
and then they go inside the real lunar orbiter at one point, like the little thing that actually landed on the moon, and it's got a little plaque on it that says, this has been restored to its original historical location by the historical. This has been restored to its original location by the Historical Stickler Society, right?
It's funny. This show is so old that they didn't make a fake the moon landing joke because it wasn't a conspiracy, a big enough conspiracy yet.
Then they do a joke where there's like this, like Confederate farmer on the moon, right? And he has 3 robot daughters, and like Bender sleeps with one of them. But they do these little jokes, right, where he's like wearing a hat that says the moon will rise again. And at one point he gets frustrated, so he takes off his hat, throws it on the ground, and stomps on it. Then another point he gets frustrated and he takes off his space helmet, throws it on the ground, and stomps on it. And then starts to choke to death, so he puts it back on. Where they do a joke where he goes, you can stay the night as long as you work. And they go, oh, okay, that sounds great. And then Leela's like, no, a night on the moon is 14 days. This sucks. We don't want to work for 14 days. We want to get out of here.
Milking the giant cowbugs.
Yeah, so there's lots of like little jokes that they throw in there. Some which are like subtle, and some which are the focus of the scene. They do both, right? But they do lots of little like head scratchy jokes that make you think, and sometimes use like science or other times pop culture as like a little reference point.
Yeah. I wanted to quickly go back on you brought up how there's no music, and I noticed there's no music in the subsequent episodes either.
No, there was some music on Luna Park.
Was there? Okay, but it was like okay, but it's Luna Park music.
And no, but there was also like dramatic chase music and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I don't remember that. Okay, interesting. Yeah, but like generally there wasn't much.
Oh! In Luna Park, there's a guy who's a mascot, who's a big moon face as a mascot.
Oh yeah,
and he gets a bottle jammed into his eye, and it's the original.
It's a movie by Méliès with the moon with the rocket in his eye.
Yeah, with the rocket that goes in his eye, and they do like little visual gags like that. I'm sure when they did that, where they jumped the gap in their little moon rover, and then there were little space crocodiles in their space helmets.
Yeah, the crocodiles.
I'm sure that's a shot from something, right?
That's a lot of like westerns scenes, right? Where the horse jumps the thing, and there's like the river with the crocodiles in it.
I guess.
Is that not a thing?
Maybe. I was just like, clearly this is like referencing something.
Because like I don't.
They do this whole joke series about how Bender the robot, like drinking alcohol powers his fuel cells.
Oh yeah.
So they do this whole, which I thought was a really funny joke series where he's not drinking anymore because he's given up on life and he's grown his 5 o'clock rust and he's becoming more and more delirious, i.e. drunk, because he's not drinking. Right? And so it's like, please promise me you won't get behind the wheel of a car without an alcoholic beverage in your hand.
And like there's this whole this jazz sequence where he walks through the city and all these signs of like extremely like sober places show up, like Bible studies and like the water museum.
And he's like being drawn into them. Exactly. And it's like, please take a shot of malt liquor. If not for yourself, then for the people who love you, right? It's like jokes like that.
Yeah, do an intervention. Yeah. No,
or like they do like a joke about the robot apartments, and the robot apartments are just like these closets with nothing in
I
them.
thought that was also like, there's a joke there.
Yeah.
There's the obvious joke that the robot apartment is like a small box because that's all a robot needs.
Yeah.
But there's also a tidbit of world building there when Bender reveals that behind his apartment there's a closet, and the closet is an apartment, and his apartment is actually the closet of this thing. So robots are built and programmed to experience the closet to be like a home, and the big home to be like a big empty wasteful thing of space, right? Like they're literally like what he calls the apartment is literally the closet of a much bigger apartment that is completely empty. But he never uses it because in his brain he's programmed to experience that.
So robots have been designed to like view the closet as a home, right?
Exactly. That was a little bit of world building, and
they've gone so far now that they still recreate the rest of the apartment, but they don't use it.
Exactly, because like Bender isn't the robot of someone. His apartment is just this tiny box, but
and like the robot apartment door numbers are all in binary, right?
That was
and they're
funny.
Counting up in binary, and like that's fun. So there's lots of little fun moments like that, some that are subtler, some that are less subtle, right? Sometimes it's actually the focus of the scene. But those were great. It's funny also how many classic lines from Futurama are in the first few episodes. Like, all right, well, if everyone's done being stupid, can we get back to the job at hand? Well, I had more, but you carry on. Right? Or like, I'm going to make my own Luna Park with blackjack and hookers.
No, sorry, I keep trying to go back to it. The thing that there was no music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember which, like, a grumpy man on YouTube has been talking about this. I don't know, like Matt Colville and Brandon Sanderson come to mind, but it might just be somebody else. But someone was talking about how like today, like music and movies and shows use music a lot to like tell you how you feel a lot more than they did in the past. Like, and not just like in the big emotional moments, but like just like in a moment to moment thing, there'll always be a little bit of soundtrack, being exciting, being sad, being tense. And I thought about it while we were watching the thing, that like there was no music. And so the writing had to carry all the emotional stuff. Like in order to make you feel things, they really had to write well. And I thought when Kina? No. Leela? When Leela's emotional all stuff wasn't working. Leela and Scotch, because that's what Power Spender was talking about her emotional stuff. I did kind of wonder, like, I wonder if there was like sappy music in the background, if this would work better for me. And at the same time, I thought like, yeah, they did like a good job at characterizing Fry and like making us like get all the emotions without ever playing any music to tell us how it did. So this
I think they just didn't have any music for the plot.
Yeah.
Like I literally think sorry.
No, I know that
for the pilot.
I'm
like,
sure they would have loved to.
I think yeah, exactly. I think like for the pilot, they just literally had no budget, and they add a little bit of music later on, and then it's the soundscape becomes a little bit more lively and a little bit like just a less of a recording booth, right?
Yeah. But the one time that the music stood out to me was during the montage where Fry and Bender move in together, and like they mess up the home completely. And I thought, aha, here they are using music, but the music is purposeful because this is a montage.
Yeah.
So and like the music felt like a sitcom music.
Yeah.
Like two guys moving in together and like getting up, doing a bunch of weird stuff. But yeah, interesting show.
It's
very
an interesting show.
Very product of its time.
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, it's got 10 seasons, right? So I think it must really find its stride more as it's going on. Like, I have to say, my first reaction after I was done watching was like, I'm not sure I would really come back to this. But the more I think about it, right, and I think about the sort of trajectory that it was on, right, I think it probably gets better, right?
Yeah, I mean this episode 2, 3, and 4 were not bad. I think episode 1 is like the clunky one. I still agree that like I don't know if I want to keep watching this just because like 12 seasons of this. Like maybe I can keep watching season 1 and see how it gets, but like I don't know, I think there's better shows.
Yeah.
That I would rather watch. Firefly made me want to see like I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
This one, it's not bad.
This one, it just has like a lot of little jokes that are great, right? Like, and just like a level of and like earnestness. I don't know. It feels like science actually matters to some degree in a weird way in this place. Like it feels like they care about setting up these little jokes and actually like being consistent to them.
Yeah, I think it's that there's definitely a thing where they take a sci-fi concepts and like set them up like the dark matter thing, and they pay them off to a certain degree.
Yeah,
like the dark matter joke like then pays off like later.
Or like one of the little things was like one of the ways they make the moon seem anticlimactic is in the time it takes Fry to count down the blast off countdown. They've already arrived at the moon, and that to me makes a lot of sense because it's an intergalactic spaceship. Yeah. And if it could fly anywhere close to intergalactic speeds, it would necessarily have to get to the moon basically instantly. Yeah. Right? Like going to the moon could not be a significant journey for it. So I feel like there were. I have this feeling that there were lots of other moments of little fun things like that happened that I'm having trouble remembering now off the top of my head.
I'm sure that if you pay attention to the background, there's a lot of other jokes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I had a good time. The last episode was weird. It was kind of like it's interesting. The last episode we watched was about like essentially like the sex life of Leela.
Yeah.
And it featured like a lot of gay jokes. But it's interesting because
the joke was never like...
The joke was never homophobic.
It's bad to be gay. The joke was just kind of like Bender has a gaydar, and it's a literal gaydar, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a literal radar that points at people and detects whether or not they're gay.
Yeah, I still found that like some of the jokes, like we wouldn't do them today, even though if they're not like a gay character is funny.
Well, there was like the one where he was like, "Oh, I think that guy's from a dimension that loves musical theater," right? Yeah. And that's like just a stereotype, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
but I really thought the other joke was really funny, where he was like, "Oh, this guy's like an ace pilot. He's done 10 rings of the space relay," and Bender's like, "More like the gay space relay," and he's like, "Oh, I wish those cats can really fly." And it's like, so there is a gay space relay, whatever, and actually people that's where the real competition is, and that was funny, right? I like that joke, but
and I think that in general that episode was also very much about like your typical like role of like female characters in Star Trek, like old-timey Star Trek, like sci-fi, with a very clear...
It's Captain always the Kirk. Aliens get seduced by Captain Kirk, right? And so she's an alien, right? Even though she's our protagonist, she's an alien.
She's an alien.
Yeah, so Zap Brannigan is their like Captain Kirk replacement. And they've done this thing that they did in Star Trek The Next Generation in the first episode, where they put the men in skirts too, because Star Trek has that history of putting the women in really small mini skirts, and so like to be progressive, they did it to the men too, but then they weren't really progressive because they didn't really commit to it, and also. As you
what a weird
out,
choice.
That was funny. They had pointed this out to me, and I was like, yeah, that's actually also part of what's weird about it. I didn't fully cognizantly realize that, which is just put nobody in miniskirts. How about that?
Yeah. Like,
which is ultimately what they settled on, right?
Also, right now I'm picturing just like Picard.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Xavier walking around with like...
I don't think it was him. Maybe it was him. And I think it was just other people, like other ensigns and like other people in the background, just other dudes in the background in these tiny little skirts. But yeah, so the joke is they've done this to the whole ship. Everyone on the ship wears miniskirts,
and they're all men. There's not a single female crew. Yeah, no, they're all men.
I didn't.
I was looking out for that. I was going to curious, like, oh, they do it to women too. Would the joke be that the women have pants?
Yeah.
At this point, right? That's the joke. That's how you cap it off. But it was it was interesting. Like this episode, clearly
they make fun of Zach Brannigan a lot for being fat, which I feel like we wouldn't do anymore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he has kind of like a dad bod.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of mean because like I think it's just a jab at Shatner. Shatner had a hard time controlling his weight over his career, and he's always supposed to play the romantic leading man, and sometimes he wasn't at the weight that in that time you would cast the romantic. Honestly, he wasn't at the weight that today you would cast. Like, even today, that's still kind of a rule that Hollywood does. That's unfair, which is like, if you're fat, you can't be a romantic lead.
I mean, I feel like today we put a lot more pressure on Star. Like, have you seen what like Adam's West body looked like compared to like Ben Affleck's body when they each played Batman?
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for superhero standards have changed, but I would argue probably standards have changed overall, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, overall.
I'm just saying, like, superheroes are an example where I think it's particularly changed, right? So I'm like not sure that Ben Affleck, like, I'm not sure that tracks as much to like Star Trek, but I think you're right.
I don't think the delta is as big in general as it is for Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
But still. I also wanted to say, like, I think that, like, you know, this show, much like The Simpsons when The Simpsons was first made, was clearly like kind of like a disruptive, liberal, like adult animated show that wants to like play with tropes, subvert traditional tropes. You know, The Simpsons was a lot about subverting the traditional wholesome family sitcom. And like, I'm not sure this is subverting anything in particular. Like, it doesn't feel tied to a genre.
Well, I mean, here's the subversion. The future is exactly like today.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
The subversion.
Yeah, but like, is that like, I don't know, like cyberpunk genre in the 1980s had already done that.
Well, I mean,
that the future is shitty.
Yeah, I mean,
the future is
maybe cyberpunk even goes as far as to say this future is worse.
The future is worse in cyberpunk.
Whereas this is just kind of like the future is a pastiche. It's a veneer over what already exists.
Yeah, it's an aesthetic coat of paint over our present. But yeah, so what I wanted to say is that like this episode clearly wanted to be like a like wink wink nudge nudge, we're being progressive about women, and isn't it fucked how women always have these like shitty roles in shows, and how it's always about having sex with the hot alien girl of the week. And also I would guess also those gay jokes are meant to be like counter gay jokes, where like you expect a type of joke, and then the joke is like the gay guys are, you know, like if there's like the gay guys are fine, they're fun, and like we're having a different type of joke. But like I really like that when you have pieces of media like this that are both progressive and outdated, and that special flavor of like, you were trailblazing, and yet now you are in the museum.
In retrospect, it's not so impressive.
Yeah.
It's like when like you watch Dune after watching every other movie and story that's inspired by Dune, and then you watch Dune do the Dune thing, and you're like, well, yeah, you didn't do it quite as well as this other show that was based off Dune. And it's like, well, yeah, that other show, you know, had years to refine the formula.
Yeah, that is true. And like, there is that comic book that graphic novel that I recommended to read, Kingdom Come. It's a DC graphic novel from the 1990s that was written in response to like the dark edge violence of the comic books, and it wanted to be a more hopeful comic book that was like against like the idea of vigilante justice and of murder, and like it's very much like a product of its time. Like it's clearly progressive, but it's a progressive piece of media of the 1990s.
Yeah.
And like and it's interesting because it's also nostalgic in its own way. Yeah. It's a nostalgic for like the 1950s and 60s.
Yeah, that was the thing. I'm sorry, I'm a little sidetracked, but that was the thing that bothered me a little bit about Futurama, or that just made me a little bit sad. The vision of the future really was disappointing in some way. It's just kind of the present with like vapid, empty, colorful things slapped on top of it. You know, it's like,
oh, there's suicide booths.
Yeah, there's suicide booths instead of phone booths, and you go around in little tube systems. But like, it's not that what I would appreciate is a world that has a sense of a coherent sort of world building something, but that doesn't actually really care about that thing, right? It's just like, oh yeah, the authors consider it and thought about it and made some sort of, but they don't like, but the show's not focused on the politics of the taxes on Zebulon 7, right?
Yeah. I think that like the first episode, the pilot, is really the only one where we have this thing.
Yeah.
And I think that it's, like we are transported 3,000 years in the future, and like we can't lose the audience with like a weird concept. Like the selling point is already we're 3,000 years in the future, so we need to show you 1,000 years in the future, year 3,000.
Yeah.
So we must show like relatable stuff because that episode is not about look at the future, how weird it is. It's about Fry's like desperate run from alienation.
Well, like one of the things, for example, that is strange, right, is the Earth seems to be run by some kind of global government that enforces chips that assigns you jobs, and you get this chip, and then that's your job forever, right? And rejecting that seems to make you an outlaw.
Yeah, pariah.
Except then they just keep living on Earth once they're part of the space shipping company.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really actually seem to matter, right?
No.
And it seems like, wow, I don't know. In retrospect, I'm not sure the conflict in episode 1 is a real conflict unless you back up that world building somehow, unless you somehow maintain that like the peace officers, right, come back, and the chip guy comes back, right?
Yeah.
So
I really think as I said before, like with the world building mistake, that they shouldn't have all the stuff from the past. I think that like the idea that the future is just like the present with a fresh coat of paint, like is either like a commentary, or it's like a useful narrative shorthand to not have to explain the whole new setting.
It's but basically
it really doesn't go that
everything is exactly as you know it as the 21st century, except for slightly swapped.
Sometimes
bacon is caffeinated, grapefruits are baconated, but we still eat grapefruits and we still eat bacon. You know?
And we eat mummies.
Yeah, they eat space mummies every once in a while, which is still something humans have been doing for a long time. So, ever since colonial powers discovered them, basically.
Have we been eating them?
Yeah. It was a big thing in Victorian England to eat mummies. Yeah,
I did not know that.
And they turned it into paint too. They called it mumia, which is like the shade of paint for like.
That feels disrespectful.
It was extremely disrespectful. I mean, they just went into Egypt. They looted a bunch of corpses, and they were like, "Oh, isn't it fun to play with them and turn them into powder?" Yeah, it's fucked up. Wow. And that's why there's so few mummies left. Is because most of them were fucking disturbed, robbed, and eaten by Victorian assholes.
No. This is a piece of history I did not want to know. Yeah. I taught you about fun amusement parks, about Luna Park.
Yeah, no.
Oh God. Yeah. Thank you, Saras. I mean, hey, turned out you had something to say.
Yeah, I mean, about 30 minutes worth of it. I think this is going to be our shortest episode ever.
Are we only 30 minutes?
Yeah, we're only 30 minutes in.
Damn. Time flies when you're... No, wait, it's the other way around.
Time flies when you're in a cryogenic chamber. Yeah, overall review... Any last thoughts we have on Futurama? I think the show is going to get better. Like Zoidberg hasn't had a chance to shine yet and to do his thing yet. They clearly haven't found what their conflict was. In one episode, they were like aiming that like Bender's conflict is he wants to be a country singer. Now clearly Bender's conflict is that he likes his friends a lot and he can't say it. So I feel like they're juggling around trying to figure out what each character's conflict is going to be. I thought, by the way, that it really undercut the episode, the Star Trek episode you were talking about. Really undercut that she does end up sleeping with Zap Brannigan. That Leela does end up sleeping with Zap Brannigan. I was like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't talk about how icky it is and then have her actually sleep with him. I don't know. I felt like it would have been way funnier if like he'd gotten drunk, fallen asleep, and assumed he'd slept with her, right? And you could still do the rest of the episode the same way.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't exactly call Bender's conflict that he wanted to be a country singer like his conflict. I think that was just like a running gag that like it's his like repressed.
It was really bad. It didn't work for me.
It was like that. It had this. I mean, it was. I'm not saying it was good, but I'm saying like I didn't take it seriously. It's like this is what they think. Like the conflict is clearly in that episode about Fry. Yeah. Fry's relationship to the moon. Yeah. And I guess in a way his relationship to
which was also fun. This is how we imagined the moon landing might have happened. And the space whalers come out. Like super inaccurate 18th century space whalers come out.
Yeah, but like that's Disney. Like that's a parody of Disney because they bring up like our Fungineers, reimagine it, and like these space whalers are like a franchise, like Pirates of the Caribbean, Space Whalers of the Moon, and like the engineers who design the Disneyland parks actually have a special title.
They're
Imagineers.
Imagineers.
So the Fungineers is that, right?
Yeah. So
it's like they branded basically like they copyright branded the.
Did you get the Monsanto joke with the gophers?
I wasn't sure. I was waiting for the genetically modified gopher to come out.
Exactly. I was like, I know about Monsanto. I know what they do. I don't see how it connects to these gophers.
I mean, maybe in the 1990s they were not the genetically
modified seeds company.
Maybe they were just doing pesticides.
Yeah, maybe they were just I don't know.
Maybe the joke is that they kill gophers. Maybe in the 1990s there was a holocaust of gophers and
that we don't know about.
And so now the joke is that they adopted the gopher as their mascot. See, the fact that Monsanto still exists breaks the idea that aliens destroyed Earth and society was reset 2 times. I was also thinking
Monsanto isn't headquartered in New York. Again, the aliens only destroyed New York.
And they rebuilt castles?
Well, here's also the other thing, right? They show New York.
Yeah, it's New York.
They show like they in that same episode, they go under the surface of the new city, and they find the crumbling ruins of New York.
Yeah, so the castle
which have not been destroyed, which are not flattened by laser beams, and there's no castles.
Or
so like literally like the built because we look out the window, right? We're looking out the same window during the whole time lapse. So there's no way for the whole new city to only be built on top because then the building that Fry would be in would be currently subterranean. Right? Yeah.
I mean, I
guess it was a skyscraper, but still, it doesn't really work.
How did they not destroy that building?
Yeah.
No, I mean that joke. I mean, either that joke is like, it's just a sidekick in the background, and you shouldn't think about it. Like that's not the lore.
The weird thing is, there's a moment right before he trips into the cryogenic chamber where I know there's a detail in there from episode 1 that they pay off way, way later. There's actually an overarching plot, and there's like some stuff related to the cryogenic chamber at the start that isn't what it appears to be in episode 1, and there's already hints of it that it's not what it appears to be in that episode, and I saw it while we were watching it. There's a little tiny hint. And so it's weird, right? Because there's parts of that episode that you're absolutely supposed to take seriously and that they are going to bring back later. But then the moment after that moment, there's this time lapse, which I think you're not supposed to you're just supposed to be like, haha. But it's weird because the rest of the show, it's the pilot. It's probably they broke that rule once and they realized after the fact, this doesn't feel good. We're not going to do this again.
Or
from now on, we're going to try to be more consistent with what we
or that like the when they wrote the script, they didn't write that gag in the script, and then like they had the idea that added it later, and they didn't think about it too much.
Yeah. All right, those are our last notes. Overall, watch or botch? Are you going to watch it or botch it? Is it a botch or is it a watch?
I mean, it's not bad, but I don't think I'm going to keep watching it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put it on my watch later list. There's other things I might watch before. I don't know. Do you think I should watch Solar Opposites before this? I feel like very similar shows.
No. And I mean, I think that I think Solar Opposites is, I don't know. I have watched 4 seasons of Solar Opposites. I've watched 4 episodes of this.
And the thing with Futurama also is it's won so many awards, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's quickly just take a cruise through the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Futurama received critical acclaim through its run and was nominated for 17 Annie Awards, winning 9 of them, and 12 Emmy Awards, winning 6. It was nominated 4 times for a Writers Guild of America Award, winning for the episodes Godfellas and The Prisoner of Benda. It was nominated for a Nebula Award and received Environmental Media Awards for the episodes The Problem with Poplars and the Futurama Holiday Spectacular.
And it wasn't cancelled after 7 episodes like Firefly was, so maybe Futurama is the better show. And Firefly is just not as good, couldn't compete.
So it's like, it's won 6 Emmys, right? But not for the first 4 episodes, I don't think. No. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I feel like I might watch or botch it again in the future to get like further in and see if it starts to get good. But for now,
I might watch, finish season 1.
Yeah.
That seems like a reasonable amount to watch and see how you feel about it.
Yeah. And I feel like an important thing to say, right, about the watch or botch concept is you're judging an entire show by its first 1.5 hours. Especially with a TV show like this, you can see how that concept is flawed, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes a good show will fail the watch or botch. I think that is the scenario here. I think this is a good show. If you're willing to extend your goodwill beyond the first episodes and watch maybe the first 10 and see if it gets good, then I think you will probably find yourself ending up watching this show. But if you really want to be like, look, I have 4 episodes of interest, then I don't think the show's... It just hasn't found its swing yet at this point. So
and, about Solar Opposites,
yeah,
definitely watch more than 1 episode. I think the first episodes also is still finding their foot.
Exactly, right? And so...
I mean, even Rick and Morty, to be honest, the first episode is
Wasn't the first episode a really great classic adventure?
I mean, it's a classic adventure in terms of
they go find crystals and he gets high with them or something?
They go collect these seeds and Rick and Morty has to shove them up his ass.
It's the butt seed episode?
It's the butt seed
episode. They started with that? That's hilarious.
That is the first episode.
The balls to start with you have to shove the seed up your ass. Morty episode.
Way up your ass.
God, it's true. Rick and Morty really was genuinely good at the start. It's funny to remember after watching season 7 and being reminded of the way up your ass joke, which is just so much better than any of the more recent stuff.
Yeah, but I think also if they made the way up your ass joke today, it just wouldn't hit as hard.
Yeah,
because we have 7 seasons of shove the thing up your ass.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes shows they do their concept, they burn their fuse, and then they're done. Not under capitalism.
I don't know. Sometimes you say that, but then sometimes you say that the Rick and Morty is the easiest concept in the world to keep doing ad infinitum.
You'd think, right? But they somehow ran out of ideas. They had an infinite universe with infinite parallel universes and infinite everything, and they somehow ran out of ideas. And I think maybe they didn't run out of ideas, but they ran out of meaningfulness. And it's the show's about nothing and nothing matters. It turns out that makes for a really bleak show, right? That's
unless you're the writers of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Well, it's this is where you need to come in and bring it meaning, right?
Yeah.
The meaning of It's Always Funny. It's always funny. The meaning of It's
always funny.
The meaning of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is these people suck, right? These people are awful, and how self-sabotage drives you to always go back to the same place, and how it's funny to laugh at these people who suck and ruin their own lives, right? So it has meaning, right? Whereas Rick and Morty could just be the same message over and over and over again, but they're so committed to the point that nothing matters that they get to this absurdist place where life really sucks, and it's not pleasant to watch the show because the emotional resonance you get from the show is literally the number of calories you get from Diet Coke, right? It's intentionally nothing. So I feel like they have to go that one further step that then whoever comes after absurdists does, which is, life has no meaning, but you make your own meaning, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, I think partially they already had episodes that are kind of about that. I think there's we can do a whole other episode.
Anyway, none of this is about Futurama. Yeah. Final thing on Futurama, watch or botch. The first 4 episodes are a botch, but I'm pretty sure it gets better. So I think at some point in the future I will do this experiment again, and I'll watch a little more of Futurama. But I have to say, honestly, I was a little disappointed. I was a little bit expecting more of the fabled Futurama. I was expecting it to be a little funnier from the get-go.
One thing that I appreciate is there's clearly care put in here to make a sci-fi comedy show.
Yeah.
I think this could have been a lot more heartless and corporate, and it wasn't.
Yeah, has a lot of heart.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll just about do it for our 36th episode, I believe this is. If it's not, don't crucify me. Do you have any plugs?
Do I have any plugs?
My plug is going to be fittingly The Ministry for the Future. It's a book that I read. I don't know if I've recommended it before on the pod. I have a vague memory. I might have, but if I have, here it is again. And if I haven't, here it is. It's essentially an author's political argument about what is wrong with society currently in terms of capitalism and the climate, and ways that you can fix it, wrapped in a novelization of the very near future, in which, in this setting, climate effects start happening, as they're probably going to start happening here. Heat waves in India start killing people. An Indian nationalist movement, it gets going in reaction to that, starts doing things to the climate, like dropping microparticles into the atmosphere to block out the sun and stuff like that. And that has unintended consequences, as you would think that kind of plan would. And basically goes through the formation of a UN ministry called the Ministry of the Future, whose job is to proactively take care of the environment. And they talk about all the different possible solutions for the climate. And it just follows the life of this one woman who heads the Ministry of the Future and how her life develops. She gets threatened, by political violence. She grows old, and she goes through this whole journey watching Earth basically figure out how we deal with this future, the compromises people make, the decisions that who do you actually need to convince, talking about the politics, right? Like, who do you need to convince to make climate credits? Central banks. Who are central banks accountable to? Shockingly, not many people. The government doesn't really control them, They're kind of their own thing in a really weird, interesting way. They have a lot of power, but they're not elected, right? And so it's interesting. It talks about all of that, and it talks about the adaptations in psychology and the adaptations in policy. Like, how do you do wealth tax? How do you do income tax? How does taxation work, right? And so it's kind of like it's really this author's collection of, I found, inspiring and insightful and interesting. Like, not like every one of these suggestions is a home run and I agree with, but it's like, oh, this is a great raft of suggestions of like things that we could do, wrapped in a poignant story about life, growth, trauma, growing old, and sort of the world becoming sort of forward looking. And you just feel like everyone in the book grows wiser over time, and they just have this journey, and it's great in a great way. And it made me want to move to Switzerland. It portrays the lakes in Switzerland as very, very calm, and the mountains as very nice. Which, I've been to Switzerland a few times, so I guess I agree with that to some degree, but I've never swam in Lake Geneva.
They're cold.
Yeah, this book makes it seem like it's fucking awesome. It's just like so calm and meditative the way the book describes it. It's like the book is like, it's cold as shit, but
it's cold as shit.
But like, you do it every day as your daily swim, and it somehow is healing to you in the process. Anyways, I thought it was a really great book, and it's a great way to combine like political views with like narrative. So I'm gonna plug the Ministry for the Future.
I'm gonna plug the movie Blade Runner, because the future sucks, actually.
I've never seen Blade Runner.
You've never seen Blade Runner? Oh, Blade Runner is such an interesting movie to talk about, because it's similarly to like Dune in a way. It's a precursor to so many things that are like now ingrained in like pop culture and like all the cyberpunk genre. But like Blade Runner, it's not the first story, but it's probably the first like mainstream movie that did cyberpunk, that went big. And it's very interesting, and it's also very interesting to talk about in the context of the philosophy of adaptation, because Blade Runner is very different from the short story Do Robots Dream of Electric Sheep by Phil Dick to Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Phil Dick, but it's still great. And
I was wondering if I should actually read that short story.
It's interesting. The what changes the most is like the vibe of the story. Like, one is like an action thriller noir, and the other one just isn't. And So it's interesting because on the one hand, you can see yourself being like, this story is like, it's clearly not the vision of the author at all, but it's still a very successful movie.
Yeah.
And I think that today sometimes we're a little too quick to like jump to this kind of like critique of a piece of work that it doesn't embody the same spirit of the original. And like, yeah, but it's trying to do something else maybe. And maybe is it still good on its own?
Yeah, and maybe that's the best way to make a movie out of it, right? Like, it might not make a good movie if it was super faithful, and maybe it's also just an important piece of art. Of course, there's also the line of like, yeah, but this is not a Halo TV show. This is just your sci-fi TV show with the name Halo thrown on it.
Well, I think most importantly, it's a bad TV show.
Yeah.
Regardless, you know, if the Halo TV show was amazing, people might forgive it a lot more.
It's totally true. I don't know if we've talked about this on pod before, but we've spoken before about the philosophy of adaptation, right? And I think generally
that probably calls for an episode.
If you do a good job, everything's forgiven, right? And it's like, it's kind of an oxymoron because obviously if you do a good job, it's good. But the point that I'm trying to make is like being faithful is one of the rules that is like a guideline that you can help, but there's no real rules for what makes art good. And sometimes like you change something about Lord of the Rings and you get hailed as a visionary, right?
Yeah.
Other times you change something about Lord of the Rings and it's a really bad idea.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's just like, it's changing or not changing something is not necessarily the be all end all of what makes something good.
For me, like the one of the best examples of this is like Zack Snyder's Watchmen movie, which like really skirts the line between just being like a different take on the material that doesn't look like what Alan Moore had in mind, but like he made the movie a watchable movie of like 2 hours out of a graphic novel that was deemed unadaptable for so long.
Yeah.
You know, it was a white whale and he did it.
Yeah.
But skirts the line between doing that and just like not getting the point,
yeah.
just like missing the point clearly. And so people are very divided on it. And like, I think it's still a very like notable piece of like art that like should be watched, to be honest. I think like it makes for a very entertaining movie.
Sounds like you're plugging that too.
No, not necessarily, because if you love the graphic novel and you're Alan Moore, for example, Alan Moore despises that movie, and I understand why. I'm not going to try to convince Alan Moore that the adaptation of his story is good, you know. But like, you know, then you watch the Watchmen show, the HBO Watchmen show, which could be applied. And you know that's a show that is
the longest. We'll make up for the shortest episode ever with the longest plugs
Succession,
ever.
Yeah, exactly. And
I think actually it's now long enough, so this is not going to be our shortest episode ever.
Yay, we cracked it. It's still be lessons beyond numbers, maybe. So the HBO Watchmen show, for example, is like the story has nothing to do with like Watchmen because it's set in the future. It's a new story, but the tone is so much more the original. Like it feels so much more the original graphic novels intended tone and weird vibes. Oh yeah.
Alrighty. That'll just about do it for episode 36 of the podcast. You can find us on youtube.com/@afriendlyorbit, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you want to send us any Astro Echoes, you can email us at afriendlyorbit@gmail.com. All one word.
All right, Ceres, I'll let you go to sleep now. And to all of our fellow Voyagers out there, we will catch you out there amongst the stars.